We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Outsports founder Sid Ziegler exposes UFC champion Sean Strickland's unprecedented anti-LGBTQ plus remarks, highlighting sports' need for LGBTQ plus inclusion.
Developing news, Wilton Manors approves transformational projects.
Queer News Tonight analyzes Biden's potential election win, contrasting LGBTQ plus supportive policies with Trump's anti-LGBTQ plus stance, highlighting the election's impact on queer rights.
February is Black History Month. HOTspots Happening Out announces major events to celebrate.
30th Annual SAG Awards final voting for some incredible nominees. Nyad, Annette Bening, and Jodie Foster are among LGBTQ plus favorites. Stonewall director Robert Keston is a SAG voter and has big decisions to make.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat, and it's time to meet the rest of our panel. Let's begin by welcoming anchor John Buckley. He's the Vice President and Program Director for Unity Coalition. He's the creator of Caoba Initiative, a free traveling social event that features inspiring speakers, topics, and a safe space for all same-gender loving people of color. John is also known as Buck Lords, baby, from the famous House of Lords. Love everybody in the house. Good evening, John. Welcome back, Papi. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Faye. It feels great to be back. Don't forget to join Caoba and Unity Coalition this coming Sunday at Hollywood Pride. We're doing our next installation of Caoba Archives.
Yes. All right. Thank you, UC, for always bringing the heat, right? And that's what it's all about. Hello to Herb and Melba and your whole entire crazy team over there at UC. I love you guys. Next up, let's welcome John Hayden. He's my brother from another mother. You know him. He's a journalist for 29 years. He's the senior reporter for Out South Florida. And big news, he is the Wilton Manor half of the new entertainment and showbiz television show, The W Boys, with WeHo's Eric Restivo. Watch his premiere on Tuesday, March 5th. You can follow him on Instagram at John Hayden Journalist for breaking news and live reports from community events. Welcome, John. And you just did breaking news right here.
I know. We're March 5th or March 12th is going to be our debut date, and we've got we're in development. I mean, anything is open. We're talking about guests. We're going to talk about fun pop culture stories in LGBTQ. We're going to talk about fun non-LGBTQ pop culture stories. We're going to cover it all. It's going to be a really great piece. It's going to our show that's going to fit in with the networks. We're looking forward to working with HOTspots and Happening Out Television to really promote the fun side of LGBTQ plus news. Because let's be honest, I'm senior reporter at Out South Florida and here on the show. Now I'm going to get back to my entertainment roots, my Deco Drive roots, and let loose a little bit, maybe unbutton a button or wear something a little sparkly. Yeah. So, it's going to be me and Eric. Eric starts tonight at the pub with his new trivia night. We're going after the show. Yeah. So, me and Eric. Eric and me. Wilton Manors, W Boys, Wilton and WeHo. I can't wait.
I love that, how you stole him from my bed, because DJ Eric was my boy in bed with me, right? And these mofos came and took him. We need him. We're taking him for a show. You're out.
Girl, bye.
I love it. I love it. I love Eric and I love you, and I think that the show is going to be freaking fabulous and funny as hell. I can't wait. I can't wait. Next up, let's welcome Hunter. Hunter's back. Yes, Hunter Ohanian. He is now a community consultant with more than 30 years of experience. He's the former ED of the Stonewall National Museum, served as CEO of the College Art Association, the world's largest professional society supporting visual arts, art historians, and curators. He also served as museum director of the prestigious Leslie Lohman Museum of Gay and Lesbian Art in New York. He is an expert in gay history, culture, law, and politics. Hunter knows it all, baby. Good evening, Hunter. Welcome back, honey.
Nice to see you and see everybody else again. I'm opening an exhibition this week in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Ooh, cold.
I am the Center for Contemporary Art. I juried a show 900 artists from around the world and selected the top 50. So the show will be up. If anybody is in the New Jersey area, they should stop by and see it.
I love that. I love that. I'm from New Jersey, so that's fantastic. All right.
Donald Trump's Bedminster location is there. Is that where the event is being held?
The Center for Contemporary Art.
Okay.
Get that straight, okay, John?
I do have to steal a cocktail napkin from there while I'm up there.
Oh, yes, for sure. Get it signed by the maintenance person or something. I don't know. We are the reporters for Queer News tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. Let's begin by queering up sports. MMA fighter Sean Strickland says most anti-gay statements in sports history. UFC and ESPN seem okay with it. HOTspots founder and editor Sid Ziegler was first to tell the LGBTQ plus community about Sean Strickland. HOTspots has written extensively on the Ultimate Fighting Championship that took place over the weekend. Ziegler shared with Queer News executive producer Al Ferguson that this is the most anti-LGBTQ plus exchange from a professional sports star in history. UFC middleweight champion Sean Strickland has sparked controversy with deeply homophobic and anti-LGBTQ plus remarks during a press conference in Toronto ahead of Saturday's UFC 297. In a conversation with MMA journalist Alex Lee, who inquired about Strickland's previous statements on disapproving of a potential gay son, the fighter escalated tensions. After asking if Lee had voted for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and labeling him the enemy, Strickland questioned Lee's sexuality and launched a personal attack when Lee expressed acceptance of a gay son. Strickland continued to berate Lee, accusing him of being the cause of every problem in the world. Lee, who comes from a city with a strong LGBTQ plus community, felt compelled to address the fighter's stance on LGBTQ plus issues. He highlights the need for confronting such views in the sports community. Strickland launched into dramatic trans attacks. During the post-fight press conference for UFC 297, a question was posed to UFC CEO Dana White regarding the possibility of limiting Strickland's speech. White said he does not believe in controlling anyone's speech and is not inclined to impose limitations. In his words, quote, "People can say whatever they fucking want. They can believe whatever they want," end quote. ESPN is owned by ABC Disney, and they received tremendous social media backlash for not issuing a strong response to Strickland and the UFC. Sid Ziegler condemned Strickland's horrific language through a social media post on X. Sid Ziegler interview on Unapologetically Queer with Al Ferguson has received backlash as well after UFC's incident, with some people making harsh comments like infection about the video. These developments emphasize that the sports community and sports fans need to be more inclusive of the presence and progress of LGBTQ plus community in sports.
You know, you're in Toronto. Welcome. Glad to hear it. It's been great.
Are you Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the fucking opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
You got to like. Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like if you ask him, motherfucker, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for fucking Biden.
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
Sure. Right. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be. We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said if I had a gay son, I would think I'd.
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone says.
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse
crowd? Let me know. Are you gay?
Could I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is a part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau, like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone, and has he shut down your country and seize bank accounts, you ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
I feel like that doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what, and will know what they stand for. Are you
this guy's like, hey, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there. Asking these stupid fucking questions. Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I still good with this? Did I cross any lines? A little, what the fuck? I didn't say the F word. You just brought this fucking guy in here to piss me off.
You just did, but just to follow up, I mean, Rick.
Did I say it?
You just did.
No, I didn't say it.
Right there you did.
Different F word. Yeah. I'm trying to be good, man. I'm trying to be good. I like the fucking gays. Here's the thing. I've never, you guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay woman? I like the gays. It's fucking freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have fucking freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably gonna get the fucking Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a fuck who you fuck. I don't give a fuck what you want to do in life. But don't fucking tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in fucking school. Don't fucking push your agenda. Don't try to fucking brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go up past all this shit and brainwash people, you fucking cuck.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Sean Strickland, you are a vile, disgusting human being. Like, honestly, when you're calling that man an infection, you are honestly an infection. You really are. Yeah, you're an MMA fighter, and that goes hand in hand with toxic masculinity, and it seems to be going hand in hand with a lot of Trumpers too, right? And I get it. Maybe you took too much TRT. I don't know, bro, but you are out there, and God don't like ugly, which is also why you fucking lost over the weekend, right? BTW. I'm mad. I was initially more mad at ESPN than I was at Sean Strickland because they're a bigger entity, right? And they didn't say anything. They didn't come out or for trans defense or anything like that. They didn't shut him up or anything. Why? Because of money, because of the big paycheck that all comes, that all stems from, right? ESPN got to walk away with the big payout and just say, F LGBTQ, I don't give a shit what he said. This guy, again, he's a vile human being. And it's incredible because, he was beaten as a child. He had an alcoholic father. So he doesn't come from greatness, right? You would think that he would have more empathy for marginalized society, and he's not, and he doesn't.
No. First off, thank you to Mr. Ziegler for bringing this to our attention. This is vile. Like you said, I don't know if you've ever been to an MMA fight or UFC event. I went once in Vegas with my dad. It was a fun weekend, but I can tell you that a UFC match is not or never will be confused for a Mensa meeting. We're just going to put that right there. One admonition to the reporter: he started to let Strickland bait him a little bit. You should never go back and forth. While I appreciate that Alex said I am an ally and all that, that's not really what you do. We do it here, but you don't engage like that, because then he goes off on this 2.5 minute rant or something like that. And Steve, can we bring back a picture of Strickland at the podium? Because I think hate is America's top export, and he's living. Look at his shirt. A woman in every kitchen, a gun in every hand. Yeah. If that is not, it broadcasts, I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
I can't think for myself. I want to go back to the good old days when women were in the kitchen, men were shooting everybody all over the place, and much, much worse. This is
You know why?
He's just terrible.
You know why this triggers me even more?
Why?
Because of the three LGBTQ women that were beaten and knocked the fuck out in Wynwood.
Yeah.
That's why this triggers the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because one of those people who did that was what? A UFC fighter, right? An MMA fighter, right? I mean, and that's the rhetoric that you're telling people. You're wearing a shirt like that, basically telling people a gun in every hand and a woman back in the kitchen, and that's okay.
I want to go back to the point you raised, though, about money, though, because that really is what this is all about. I mean, he is doing performance art here. He is trying to build his brand, and he's decided that he wants to build his brand through hate. He is taking all the hate that we see from national lit leaders, not just in this country, but in other lit leaders, and he is just exacerbating the problem over and over again. I even question whether or not we should have put that on for 3 full minutes. That is the most vile stuff. We can talk about this without giving him airtime. And I just think it's horrendous, and we are giving in to him. We are giving him a platform. Just the same way to give Donald Trump a platform or give Ron DeSantis a platform. They want to be able to put this stuff out there. We need to recognize that it's hateful and it's wrong. We need to understand what's being said. But man, I found that tough to sit through and realize that we were actually putting it out there like that. It's a lot.
Yeah, and Hunter, and I disagree with you respectfully, because it's certainly a judgment call. Faye and I have talked about this. We've talked about it with Al as well, about whether we should put this on, and we wanted to make sure that we saw the video. Personally, I agree with you, but I also think that we can't understand the impact of the words just by reading them. I think to have to hear him say it, unfortunately, yes, you're right, but by us broadcasting it and other outlets, we're framing it. We're not letting Fox News put the soft buffer on it. We're not doing that. So it was a conscious choice that I support for us to do it. Could we have made the other decision the other way and I wouldn't have had a problem with it? That's correct.
No,
it was a judgment
call. And Hunter, they have a national platform as it is, because everybody's talking about this, you know? And it's just, I think it's important for our community to see the truth, because the reality is that a lot of people in our community, as you know, Hunter, are freaking delusional as to what's happening.
Sure, and listen, I also, even though it's really hard to say, I will defend any idiot like that's First Amendment rights to say what he wants to say.
Absolutely.
He always has the right to say those things. It's just really sad to see people like this get that much power out there.
Did you see John's face when he was watching?
I was like,
he was crazy.
I was appalled. I'm like, it's sad because outside of that whole act, there's probably a lot of deeper issues within himself that he has to deal with. Yeah. And that's what's really sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll definitely have more on this story as it unfolds. John, what's next?
Well, next, we're going to queer up out South Florida. Wilton Manors skyline-changing choices. But, of course, more than the city's skyline is changing. Last night, commissioners unanimously voted for Wilton's biggest and tallest developments in years. Generation will go on 24th Street and 13th Ave, where the Alchemist sits. A mixed-use building and parking garage will go in, with a freestanding restaurant, a public dog park, and much more. But the big story of the night was when commissioners approved Wilma on the Drive. The back building at Shops of Wilton Manor is going to be demolished and a parking garage built in its place. The current parking lot in front will become a 7-story mixed-use building. Wilton Manors face the choice: expand their tax base or raise taxes. New developments, especially rentals, bring top value as assessed value is high and tax revenue isn't depressed by longtime residents using their homestead exemption. And that's good. But at what cost? Most concerns revolve around neighborhood safety in the face of increased traffic and losing the city's vibe, created and driven by LGBTQ+ residents. Development will change this city. For better? For worse? We won't know for a long, long time. And of course, this story is online and will be in the paper this week. There's a cover. We're also campaigning, we're also not celebrating, commemorating Ron DeSantis dropping out of the presidential Republican primary nomination race. So that's our cover. And that's an excellent quote from Politico. And if you get a chance, go to Politico and read the articles. It was incredibly well written.
Okay, so
but
let's talk about this new Skyline. I mean, like, okay, this is not going to be for some time, right? I mean, we're looking at like maybe 6 years. Am I wrong?
3 years.
Right? Well, like 3 years.
3 years. They are. Well, the two projects are by two different developers. The one that's off the drive, the one Generation on 24th Street, they haven't even really begun their financing yet. So they were saying, well, we're waiting on approval. The development of the Wilma on the Drive, and that's the one that's going to change everything. You know, that's the one, high rise on Wilton Drive. That one, they told me after the meeting that they are much further along in their financing issues. But the thing is, and then they hope to break ground by autumn and take about 2.5 years to complete. So approximately 3 years. I popped into a couple of the stores in that building today. They have no idea. They are blissfully saying, oh no, we're being told it will be years before they come in and do it. So I don't know who's right. I was in the room last night and I have a feeling I know who's right. So I just hope that the landlord and the business owners will be upfront with their tenants and employees because, you know, these are people's livelihoods.
Completely. But, you know, it's also the evolution of Wilton Manors, right? I mean, Wilton Manors was not Wilton Manors 15 years ago, right? I mean, South Beach used to be fun in the sun for all gays, and then evolution started happening and started moving the gays out, and now we only have a handful of gay places down there. That's the fear that Milton Manors residents and people who go and spend most of their time there, like you and I, are afraid of. Do you think that will happen, John? That we'll lose Wilton Manors how it is?
Yes, I think we will lose how it is, but it will evolve. The Wilton Manors of today isn't the same Wilton of 10 years ago when we were already solidly an LGBTQ plus centric town. So we're going to grow. Maybe more straights will move in. Maybe more gays are going to move in, upscale gays, you know, but Oakland Park is pushing hard for development, and it's slightly cheaper to live there, so maybe they'll start putting maybe gay and lesbian restaurants and bars will move up there. Maybe. I personally don't see that. I sort of see, because it's so close, that we're so entrenched that people can take a circuit or a $5 Uber ride share and get. So 10 years from now, I think Wilton Manors will still have the same vibe. Beyond that, will it be Oakland Park? Will it be Lauderdale by the sea? No, they can't. But Oakland Park, yeah. So we'll see.
Does Wilton Manors have their own police department? No.
Yes,
they do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So then good.
Yeah. The thing is too is I think that Wilton Manors has needed to be spruced up for a number of years.
Oh yeah.
Given the demand that's on it and given the amount of people that are there, and I think more people want to be there. I hope there's going to be a fair amount of affordable housing in these building projects.
I doubt it.
To be able. Well, there should be some set asides. There should be some set asides for that.
A quirk in the law, some might call it a loophole, is if. And I believe I'm correct. And if I'm misrepresenting this, I'm sure someone from the dais will call me. But I believe like X percent, let's just say 10% of new residences need to be set aside for low income. But they don't all have to be in 10% of each development. Right. They can pay a fee and then they'll be developed somewhere theoretically just as nice, but let's face it.
Yeah.
Did they say what's going to happen to the Alchemist, though?
Oh, yeah, they're closing and they're moving. The Parkland Memorial will be torn down, but it will be recreated on a wall facing the dog park when this new place opens.
Great.
And we get a dog park.
But here's the thing to keep in mind is that it could get really congested really fast because you're going to have Wilma, theoretically, if they all start around the same time, Wilma on the Drive, the Alchemist Project, Generations, and then there's the hotel on the side of the mortuary. Yeah. You could have 3 major developments within, a half mile of each other in the radius. So that could really clog things up because I expect that the hotel, if it keeps going with the approval pace and the relationship they have with the city, I expect they will probably clear planning and zoning this summer, and in the fall, the hotel will probably be approved by the city.
Wow, this is happening so fast, John.
It is, yeah.
We were just talking about this, a year and a half ago, and here we are. Like, holy crap. Wow.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun, right? Time flies when you're making money on your game.
You know where it doesn't fly? During 3.5-hour long commission meetings. It did not fly last night.
I'm so sorry, but we appreciate you for attending those, because me and Hunter and John are not going to, right?
I saw the crowd outside the chamber.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see all those people standing there just watching.
Overflow crowd. I've been covering this for about 2 years. I've never seen a meeting where they set up a monitor and a live stream outside the chamber, and there were several people
serving cocktails outside.
Or they should have been.
I mean, think about it, right? Raise the money.
And the tequila place, the taco. What's it called? Tulio's right across the street. So hopefully they made the pilgrimage over for that.
Too funny. All right, what's next, John?
Next, let's queer out politics. After New Hampshire, it's only Biden versus Trump. Where does LGBTQ stand now? Yesterday, Queer News Tonight reported extensively on the possibility of Biden winning the election. After the defeat of Nikki Haley in the New Hampshire primary, Trump seems like a certainty in November against President Biden. Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, is trailing Trump by more than 30 points. The polls are showing favorable scenarios for Biden winning against Trump. GOP political insiders are suggesting that pressure will mount this week for Haley to get out of the race. As the focus intensifies on this pivotal matchup, attention turns to the status of LGBTQ+ issues in the political arena. Trump's anti-LGBTQ+ views are not a secret anymore. He has supported Florida's DeSantis bigotry on transition-related medical care, pledged to revoke Biden's policy on trans issues, and wants to ban trans people serving in the military. Even if Trump doesn't care about other LGBTQ+ issues, he still has a dramatic effect on the community. Lambda Legal says that nearly 40% of all federal judges appointed by Trump to courts of appeals had demonstrated a history of anti-LGBTQ+ bias. Biden, on the other hand, is committed to being a champion for the LGBTQ+ people every day in the White House. If the appointment of Judge Melissa DuBois and Nicole Berner gets confirmed, it would bring the total number of appointed LGBTQ+ judges to 11 in Biden's first term alone. So after Iowa and New Hampshire, it is likely Biden, Trump is a certainty. The remaining question is not LGBTQ+ voting in November, but rather will they? It is no wonder that the LGBTQ+ community and its allies are closely monitoring the upcoming election, as it will determine the trajectory of LGBTQ+ rights and projections in the United States. This is a very important election year, so I'm pleading and begging that we all get involved. We find out who we're voting for that are holding these offices in our communities, and make sure that you go out and actually meet the people that are on the ballots. Find out what their bias is, find out what their initiatives are, make sure you see what they support in and out of the spotlight.
There are plenty of opportunities, candidates' nights, and those are opportunities that people can go to those, and even at a minimum, I think, to go to their websites and read what they have to say, and also read some critical reporting about them, some analysis about them as well, too. I mean, what I still worry the most about is that there's not enough of progressive good feeling behind Biden, not that people are going to vote for Trump, but a lot of people in the gay progressive community are simply not going to vote in enough numbers that are going to make big differences out there. And you know, the spark that Barack Obama had, or that Bernie Sanders had, and a lot of other people have, I'm not feeling that spark out there that people feel that for the Democratic. I mean, and it's always tougher to bring people out when you bring them out to vote against something as opposed to voting for something.
Right.
And I think that's one of the problems that we have. That's why I think we all have to work harder. But believe it.
Yeah, you know, last night's election, or last night's vote in New Hampshire, the surprise is there was no surprise. She got to 10 points. Nikki Haley got within 10 points, but she didn't close. No. She, you know, if she'd have finished within 8 points or so, but she still finished 10 points behind. It's always been a fait accompli that Trump would be the nominee. The question is, how long will she be a thorn in his side? I read an article today on CNN that the orange one spent the night not celebrating, but sulking, because Nikki Haley won't let him have his lollipop as soon as he wants. You know, that's the man who's running for this, and he's mad about it. And I would encourage, especially because we all know everything we're going to learn just about Trump. We know just about everything about Biden at this point. That has been litigated for going on 5 years now. But when you do, like, and to your point, get out and vote and meet the candidates. Also research them, but do more than just a quick Google search, because campaign operatives are really good at scrubbing the web of negative things about their candidate, especially when they're not well-known candidates. You know, the candidate for District 23 or what in your state legislature. Yeah. Find out about them. Do 2 Google searches, and the second one you'll probably find a lot more about that person. So right now, and also re-register to vote. If you want to vote by mail, you have to re-sign up. So get that done. So I'm just saying that these are the things we can do now.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I was reading somewhere, John, and tell me if you agree, that because of how Biden has handled things with Hamas, that he's also lost a lot of possible votership because of that. Do you believe that being true?
No.
Okay.
No, voters rarely vote on foreign issues. Even in 2004, even that was the post 9/11 presidential election, and we were still losing scores of our soldiers every week in Iraq, and that didn't stick. Bush essentially cruised, in what we call cruising these days, to an electoral victory. So I really don't think it's going to matter, because it's not about all of them. Like, the entire Jewish community of New York City could be upset with Biden, but it's not going to change the result of New York. New York's votes are still going to go to Joe Biden in the fall. You know, it's about how do you affect the Dearborn community, which is a very Middle Eastern-based community outside of Detroit, Michigan. Those are the votes that matter. You know, what about the communities in downtown Philadelphia? Those are the states. Those are the communities that are really going to matter. So. It could affect it, but it's such a narrow slice. It's an important slice, but it's a very narrow slice of the electorate.
Okay. You know what it does for me, though? I think it goes back to the point we were talking about before, is that there is a growing concern about the number of deaths in the war that's going on in Gaza. And so there are a number of people, particularly younger people in this country, who are very, very upset about that. And again, it may lead them to the point of saying, I'm really mad at Biden for what he's doing. I'm certainly not going to vote for Trump. But again, it gets to another point where they're going to sit the election out. And that's what makes me concerned, because there has been a huge backlash of people in this country who, of course, were very empathetic toward what happened on October 7th in Israel. But they also have very strong feelings about what's been happening in Gaza for the last 2 months. Yeah. And they disapprove of it.
Well, you know, piggybacking on what John said, it's an election year. Make sure that you go out and vote. Make sure that you take your friends out to vote. Remember that there was a time when Trump said he was the most supportive president that we've ever had in history. All right. That is bullshit. That is not true. OK, so please get out there and vote. It's imperative. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. HOTspots Happening Out celebrates Black History Month with the Cookout and Art Gallery opening. The start of February begins the celebration of Black History Month. HOTspots Happening Out will celebrate Black History Month in Wilton Manors with 2 important and equally entertaining events. And everyone's invited. The Cookout, a Black History Month celebration on February 3rd, is one of HOTspots Happening Out's continuing efforts to showcase that the city of Wilton Manors is welcoming to all races and ethnicities and is committed to building upon the race relations within the diverse island city. The event will be held at Mickle Park, and it will be open to the public. The Cookout will feature free food, music, and games. The Cookout is an afternoon fundraiser that donates all proceeds from the celebration to a worthy organization that serves in the advancement of Black and Brown LGBTQ+ people. The 2024 beneficiary is the New Era Lodge, number 69. The Lodge is the Fort Lauderdale chapter of the Prince Hall Masonic Origin. Part of the 300-year-old Prince Hall Masonry, Fort Lauderdale is the first to have an openly gay and Black worshipful master, Ederick Johnson. The fundraiser will also be an opportunity for you to be part of the public reading of the city's Black History Month honoree proclamation. The day's celebration continues with the evening opening reception at HOTspots Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis Dean. The theme will also celebrate Black History Month. Art exhibition at the gallery will be dedicated to the theme, and it will be open to everyone. Black queer artists will be displayed for the new gallery exhibit and will feature complimentary open bar and food from Yummy Union Kitchen. All the details about both events will be available on HOTspotsMagazine.com. I love the Cookout. This will be like my third time going to the Cookout, and they make some incredible ass food. I know. There's more to the Cookout than the food. But last year's macaroni was to die for.
Yeah.
The ribs were incredible. The chicken was fantastic. And yes, I took a plate home.
Well, you gotta take a plate home. That's the whole point.
I think there was cornbread too. Like I was like
Too, yes. And
shoving that down my throat.
I take my dogs every year, and it's just a wonderful thing. And then when they get up there and they read the proclamation, it's just and the honorees, it always is heart touching. And it's just, I'm so glad that Wilton Manors does this. We don't do enough black and brown events in Wilton Manors. No. I'm saying it out loud. We don't. You know, and this is just a stark reminder that it's Black History Month. Next week, it's Black History Month, right? Start doing your research, start going out to events, start supporting people who support you. Right, John?
Well, I mean, to me, it's not even just about having enough black events. Why just do it during a month? You know, let's continue to support each other year round on all of our different efforts.
Yeah. Well, it is Leap Day this year, so you get an extra day. That, I swear to God, that's what some people would say. Well, it's an extra long month. No, we don't do it now. I love the Cookout. I love that it's going to Mickle Park. It's great to see Wilton Manors West Side getting a little love, getting a little attention, getting an event, and this is a good one to bring over there. And then the art gallery, we go there all the time, every month, and he does such a great job of curating, finding his artists, finding the right tone to set for each of the rooms in the or each of the walls in the exhibit. Yeah. And I have to say that I'm a little uncomfortable talking about the 300-year-old Mason Lodge. If we're not here after the sunshine break, it's because the Masons all came and killed us.
They did not.
No, we're not allowed to talk about it. First rule of Mason Club: don't talk about Masons.
Well, it's going to be two great events. And like you said, Dennis Dean over at the Art Gallery, they always have a People's Choice Award for every new exhibit. So go on over and pick your favorite Black queer artists and make their day.
Yeah.
And there's some great ones. Next, let's queer up entertainment. Fort Lauderdale Stonewall Museum director cast his SAG ballot vote for Nyad actresses. The 30th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards, the SAG Awards, final voting began this week and will close on February 23rd. The awards will be streamed live on Netflix from the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. Like the Oscars, there are many LGBTQ+ contenders. Among the most notable is the story of Nyad. The film is about lesbian swimmer Diane Nyad's historic attempts to swim from Cuba to Key West without a shark cage. Both of the female stars of the movie were nominated for SAG Awards. Annette Bening, for her portrayal as Diana Nyad, is up for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role. Lesbian actress Jodie Foster also gets a nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role. The awards are voted on by SAG-AFTRA's membership of over 100,000 eligible voters, the largest voting body on the awards circuit. One of those voters is Fort Lauderdale's Stonewall National Museum director and Queer News Tonight anchor Robert Keston. And we think we know who he's voted for: Nyad, Bening, and Foster. And you'll get the opportunity to ask Bob all about the SAG voting process, because Diana Nyad herself will be at a special awards recipient at the Stonewall National Museum Gala at the venue in Wilton Manors. The Stonewall Gala is February 24th, just one day after seeing if Nyad, Annette Bening, and Jodie Foster win the SAG Award. You can get your tickets by going to stonewall-museum.org. Well, I've been to the Stonewall Gala many times, and having been director there.
Have you Did they let you come when you were the director?
Yes. And of course, it's a great event, and it really is very supportive. And it's great to be able to hand out these awards every year to people. I think the last year that I was there, we gave the award to, I'm losing her name, from visit Fort Lauderdale.
Stacey Ritter.
Stacey Ritter, I love her.
We should go on Pyramid together.
Exactly right. To Alex Ritchie and Marty Davis, and also to President Biden's press secretary, Jean-Catherine
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
And so it's a great opportunity for people to come out and support. I mean, people do forget that Stonewall, which is on Sunrise, has the largest LGBTQ library in the world with over 13,000 volumes, all organized under the Library of Congress system. And the archive has over 2,000 linear feet of LGBTQ material going back roughly from 1950 to the present day. But if you think about that, that's all the way up one side of the Empire State Building and all the way down the other. It is a huge trove of American contemporary history, not to mention LGBTQ history. We're probably one of the top 3 or 4 LGBTQ archives.
That's incredible, and people don't know it.
And people don't know
that it's right here in our backyard. That's incredible.
And hopefully we're going to be able to add some LGBTQ Hib Plus history after this award season. You know, with
Annette Bening,
with Annette and Jody. Yeah, such great actresses, you know, just on their own. So hopefully, and there are a lot of other queer characters or actors or set designers, hair and makeup style. Like there are so many in the industry, and so and of course the SAG Awards honor only actors. The grand prize is the ensemble for comedy and ensemble for drama, and it's really fun. It'll be interesting. I think this is the first year they've been on Netflix. I think before they've been on TNT. So it'll be interesting to see if Netflix produces it differently. The picture we had was of the Shrine Auditorium, but I don't know if they'll reconfigure it with tables. Because it's always fun when they're sitting at a table like this, and there's bottles of Dom in the middle.
You know, and I've got to say, I'm looking forward to meeting Miss Diana Nyad, right, at the Stonewall Gala, because, you know, I had a bone to pick with her a couple of years ago. You know, as a fellow lesbian, I was pretty pissed at her for her stance on trans, you know, and then last year she changed her mind, and I want to talk to her about it. So last year she released a statement saying, you know, trans athletes, she changed her attitude and assumptions towards trans athletes and is now firmly on the side of inclusion. She said, quote, trans women athletes deserve our utmost respect. I stand with them in the world of sports. And that was for an interview with them. So, you know, we get to evolve like we spoke about last time, right? You educate yourself, you evolve, and you become a better part of our community. Thank you, Diana Nyad, for being you, for evolving, and for coming to South Florida to get this incredible award that you are so deserving of.
Great.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ Plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ Plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the worldview. United Nations to investigate anti-LGBTQ plus laws in Texas. Several advocacy groups, including GLAAD, ACLU of Texas, Equality Texas, Human Rights Campaign, and University of Texas Austin School of Law Human Rights Clinic, have jointly submitted a petition to the United Nations. It says Texas has violated international human rights law by enacting 7 anti-LGBTQ plus laws in the past year. Those include one bill prohibiting gender-affirming care for trans minors, another banning diversity programs at public universities and erases LGBTQ plus spaces. Yet another bans transgender students from school sports. The group's letter also addresses Texas's drag ban, religious chaplain hiring, sexually explicit materials ban in school libraries, and restrictions on local anti-discrimination protections. It urges the UN to investigate each law and ask about its impact on LGBTQ plus rights.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up gay culture. Gay culture revealed with vintage pics of bodybuilder Bromance. Queer News Tonight believes in bringing gay culture to our community as news. Let's turn to the last century and homoerotic images of masculinity. In the lively world of bodybuilding, enthusiasts swear by a few essentials: a protein-packed diet, snug workout gear, electrolytes for hydration, and of course, a playlist of motivational tunes. These muscle enthusiasts thrive on the support of a workout buddy, someone to cheer them on, steady their legs, and engage in an occasional friendly wrestle. A delightful journey into the 19th century archives of bodybuilding reveals numerous instances of dudes being steadfast bros. We have been showing you many pics from the past that are full of bromance. We can't help but think these are interesting parts of gay culture from the past.
In LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up students and youth culture. A sad truth, as 34% of LGBTQ plus youth don't believe they'll live to the age of 35. Much has been said about mental health among LGBTQ plus young people. Suicidal thoughts and anxieties related to anti-LGBTQ plus legislation have intensified, making this a particularly challenging period for the well-being of queer and trans youth. The Trevor Project recently conducted a survey shedding light on the terrible place LGBTQ plus youth mental health currently is. The survey focused on the perceptions of 13 to 24-year-old LGBTQ plus individuals regarding their life expectancies and their purpose in life. Key findings from the survey indicated that 58% of respondents believed they were likely to live to the age of 35, while 34% expressed that they may not. The numbers were slightly worse the younger the survey participants were. 59% of younger participants, 13 to 17-year-olds, felt confident about reaching 35, with 41% not believing they would cross that milestone in age. Much more study is required, but it is clear this is an alarm to quantify LGBTQ plus hate in America and how it affects young people and their beliefs of how long they're going to live. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up bear culture. Bears of South Florida and GMCSF host Sing-Along at Hunters February 10th. Get ready for the grand return of the Wilton Manors Community Sing-Along. It's going to be more spectacular than ever. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida and the Bears of South Florida are inviting you to join them on Saturday, February 10th at the iconic Hunters nightclub in Wilton Manors. This is an opportunity to sing along to Broadway, Disney, and other hit songs with your friends, family, and neighbors and create unforgettable musical memories. Florida's favorite DJ, Richie Rich, will keep the tunes rolling while you enjoy the drink specials at the event. Tickets are only $10 in advance and $15 at the door. All proceeds will go to local LGBTQ plus charities. Further details are available on GMCSF.org.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up the world view. National LGBTQ plus task force weighs in on the Gaza war. The National LGBTQ Task Force is urging an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and condemning violence in Israel and Palestine. The call was announced ahead of their Creating Change conference in New Orleans. In a recent social media post, the task force stated that its mission is to build power, take action, and create change to achieve freedom, justice, and equality for LGBTQ plus people and the National Gay Task Force says that the root reason for the conflict lies in fascism, white supremacy, and colonialism. A Wider Bridge, a U.S.-based organization for LGBTQ plus people and allies with a focus on Israel and its LGBTQ plus communities, has sharply criticized the task force over its ceasefire statement. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and obviously Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If your community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including John Buckley, John Hayden, and Hunter O'Hanian. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. and to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
Good night, everyone.
Buenas noches.